Today is October 20th, 2018, Mashujaa Day in Kenya, and there's some very dramatic and indeed mind-boggling information filtering in from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Billionaire entrepreneur Mohammed Dewji, exactly 9 days after he was kidnapped outside Colosseum Hotel, reappears. Now, the first thing we must do, is to acknowledge the goodness of God. More so because I believe this thing was not supposed to end like this, with the safe return of the much-loved Mohammed Dewji. But God is God. God is Almighty. And therefore, I'd like to make a passionate appeal to everybody who takes in this channel. When you pray today, your first item, thank God Almighty for the safe return of Mo Dewji. All other things are not very important. This is the most important. There is a Tanzanian musician who has come out with a song, I think 2-3 years ago. This man is called Solomon Mkubwa. His song, Mungu Mkubwa, because indeed God is big, God is huge, God is great. That is the song I've been listening to when this great news came through. O God of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob, let your name be praised forever and ever. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Now on to the less important issues. I have been talking to an internationally recognized security expert and asking him to break down everything that has happened in this issue. I'm of course the son of a cop. I've grown up with cops. I've grown up with investigations happening around me. From a very early age when I didn't understand to when I matured and understood a little more. But even with my knowledge, that has really assisted me on this channel, and those who are regulars in this channel will know, even with all that, I didn't want to take chances. So I consulted this top internationally recognized security expert. He said a lot of things, but let me just tell you in one short sentence what his verdict was. Poorly stage managed. Okay, I will elaborate on that as we go ahead. And at the end of this video, you will understand completely what he meant. But first of all, let's start with a brief clip of Mohammed Dewji himself speaking. I want you to take very careful and close note of his body language, and indeed, and especially, the body language of those standing around him. Okay? And then we'll be back. Take a look.
Pole sana. Unajisikiaje?
Naomba nianze kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kuteko. Pia naomba nimshukuru Mheshimiwa Rais na jeshi la polisi. Asanteni, mimi ni mzima, na washukuru wa Tanzania wote kuniombea. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana. Na Mungu akubariki. Tumefurahi kuona ukiwa hai. Karibu endelee kuchapa kazi na kujenga nchi yako. Asante sana. Basi ni hilo ambalo nataka nithibitishe, na kila mmoja amemuona ana afya njema. Amejiunga na.
What is the correct reaction, if I may ask you, when you stand next to somebody who has suddenly reappeared, who had vanished for over 8 days, whom people had feared the worst, and this person is now back safe and sound? What is the correct reaction from any human being, including these officials standing next to Mo Dewji? Well, I'm sure there'll be many different answers, but I'll tell you the wrong reaction to that kind of situation. And the wrong reaction is what we see in this clip. There is nervousness, indeed fear, in one of the individuals standing next to Mo Dewji. Now that is strange. Something else odd, Mo Dewji's own reaction, his own body language. It clearly screams at us fear. Fear of those surrounding him. Look at the clip again if you missed that. Yeah. But let's move on. Yesterday, the 19th of October, the Inspector General of Police gave a press statement. Yeah. He had a press conference with the press and he spoke briefly and answered questions from the press. He was upset that the people of Tanzania do not have confidence in their own security organs. Now wait a minute. Who said they don't have confidence in the security organs of Tanzania? I don't remember anybody saying that. Of course he was saying this in relation to the suggestion by Chadema that the government brings investigators from out of the country to investigate the disappearance of Mo Dewji, who has been found today, who was returned to his family today. And I personally strongly supported such an idea. Why? Not because the police in Tanzania are not competent. No way. The whole idea behind this suggestion, you'll remember, is it was a way of proving that the government was not involved in the kidnapping and disappearance of Mo Dewji. Period. Hakuna kitu ingine. Nothing to do with the police, nothing to do with their capabilities, nothing to do with their abilities. Because we all know, at least I hope we all know, that the police take orders. They take orders from their boss. The Inspector General of Police takes orders from his superiors, cabinet ministers in charge of security in the country, and the president of the country. And in Tanzania, this doesn't happen in other countries. He also takes instructions from the intelligence bosses, usalama wa taifa. In other countries, including Kenya, the Inspector General of Police is more or less on par with the boss in charge of intelligence. And so the whole idea of inviting foreign investigators was because you do not expect the government to investigate itself. The police is part of government. It cannot investigate itself. And therefore, getting an outside investigation team, that is neutral, that is not linked to the government, was the whole idea. It was nothing to do with the police not being capable. The Tanzanian police are very capable. Now, I carefully read the body language of the Inspector General of Police, and I was more than surprised at something that happened. The Inspector General became very uncomfortable when something was mentioned. What was that? The CCTV cameras. Now you'll remember we were given very conflicting reports about the CCTV cameras. The first report we were told is that all the cameras inside the Colosseum Hotel had been disabled. They were not working. Then shortly after that, we were told that the police, the investigators had gotten a bit of CCTV footage, and the CCTV footage was not clear. Okay, they could see, but it was not clear. The third version of the same story came from the Inspector General of Police yesterday, and this is what he said. He said the cameras were not disabled. However, he said the pictures that came in were not clear. However, from joining the dots, that's quoting his own words, from joining the dots of the various hazy clips of the CCTV, they were able to identify the vehicle that kidnapped Mo Dewji. Now, to anybody familiar with CCTV cameras, that explanation does not make any sense. And here's why. It is possible to read various different statements that are not clear, and then join the dots and create a clear picture of the situation. However, it is impossible to do the same with pictures, CCTV footage. Impossible. Now, also at this press conference, the Inspector General of Police rubbished all the other previous kidnappings. He said that people are fond of talking about kidnappings when they have no evidence to prove somebody was kidnapped. He said somebody may decide to leave his family, leave his wife, So in the morning he'll say bye to his wife, he'll go to work. Then he'll vanish, he'll take a plane and disappear and go to marry a wife in Nairobi and settle there. And then the people back home in Tanzania will say he has been kidnapped. What he was implying, which I believe is very painful to the affected families, is that people like Ben Sanane and the journalist Bwana Azori, those people walked away, disappeared, and are safe and sound somewhere else enjoying their lives, married to a foreign wife. That was what he was implying. But what has disturbed me the most by far is the fact that this press conference was held yesterday, and then today, Mo Dewji is back. A few hours after this presser, Mo Dewji is back, safe and sound. Mere coincidence? I don't think so. Personally, I don't believe in coincidences. But let's give the government the benefit of doubt. It's a coincidence. They held a press conference yesterday. Mo Dewji is back today. Okay, let's just give the government benefit of doubt. That was just a coincidence. And let's move on. Is Mo Dewji the first kidnapped victim? And we know who the big suspect is, still is, the government of Tanzania. So is Mo Dewji the first kidnap case, who has returned safe and sound? We know that most people who have been kidnapped have not been returned safe and sound. Indeed, many of them, we have never heard anything about them. The answer to that question is no. There are others who have been returned safely, or who have returned safely. In June this year, during the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, a man called Ramadan Juma, aka P Square, who is a beach attendant at Coco Beach, Dar es Salaam, was kidnapped. He was released about a week later. And the story he had to tell was just crazy. He said that there were many other people kidnapped. Some were released, some were not. He was one of the ones who was released. He also said that those who had kidnapped him were accusing him of being a gangster. Now let's use some simple logic here. If I was a gangster, for example, who would be concerned that I'm a gangster? A private company? Hell no. Who actually would be concerned that I'm a gangster? There's only one answer to that question. The government. The government that is in charge of keeping the peace. The government that is in charge of security. The government that is in charge of making sure that they put away bad people or discourage bad people from doing bad things. People like gangsters. It's only the government which would be concerned with interrogating somebody and accusing them of being a gangster. So I think there's no doubt there. Ramadan Juma, alias P Square, was kidnapped by the government of Tanzania. Another case of a kidnapped person who returned safe and sound. Roma Mkatoliki, the artist known as Roma Mkatoliki, returned. But he has not been clear, and he has not given the full story of who kidnapped him, why he was kidnapped, and what happened during the time he had been kidnapped. I highly suspect that Mo Dewji's case will be the same. He will not say much. And if he talks, he will stick to the carefully prepared script of his captors. But I could be wrong. Let's wait and see. Now, there are various stories coming out of the government concerning this kidnapping so far. One story is that the people who kidnapped Mo Dewji were speaking in a certain dialect from a tribe in South Africa.
Na wakati wote wamefanya hivyo walimficha ili asiweze kuwaona watekaji. Lakini baada ya kumhoji ameelezea kwamba lafudhi ya wale watu waliokuwa wamemteka walikuwa wanaongea lugha moja kati ya lugha za South Africa. Kwa hiyo mashaka yetu kwamba waliofanya tukio hili si wa Tanzania yanathibitishwa na Mo mwenyewe kwa kuelezea kwamba lafudhi ya wahusika walikuwa wanaongea kilugha lakini ni lugha za South Africa.
That contradicts yet another government version, the one we were given shortly after Dewji had been kidnapped, that the people who kidnapped him were white men, white people. We have also been told that the people who kidnapped Mo Dewji were after money. The motive was cash. But nobody has told us if a ransom was paid. Maybe they'll tell us later. Folks, the long and short of this whole saga, this whole comedy, is that there are so many stories that it's very confusing. And as any investigator will tell you, any situation which has so many stories that they're confusing can mean only one thing: that you're not being told the truth, that what you're hearing are lies. Because the truth never contradicts itself. The truth pans out. The truth makes sense. When you put different truths together, it creates a picture which makes sense. But in this Mo Dewji issue, it is impossible to put all the different stories together and it makes any sense. Bottom line, lies of the government of Tanzania. But let us wait. We see the other information that comes out and we see if anything will make sense at the end of the day. Now, you will remember in an earlier video I said that those who had kidnapped Mo Dewji now had only one option left, and that was to release him unharmed. And this is exactly what has happened. Now I recommend that you go back and listen and watch that video again, and then you'll understand what I meant then, and it will make a lot of sense with this latest development. And it will also confirm that I was probably right when I pointed to the identity of the people who kidnapped Mo Dewji. You can see a link on the top right hand corner of the screen right now. Just click on it. You'll be able to go back to that video, take it in, think, and you will understand. Now, before I go, I just want to remind you of one thing. Regulars in this channel will know I've spoken about this before. It is something called seasons. Everything under the sun is subject to seasons. There's a season to get away with murder. There is a season to get away with kidnappings, etc., etc. In Tanzania, it appears that the season of getting away with kidnappings has ended. Now, seasons is something from God. Therefore, when it has ended, it has ended. No matter how hard you try to make something work when that season has ended, you're wasting your time. It will never work. For instance, when the season for planting is over, it doesn't matter how clever you are. If you plant, you will fail. You will not get any harvest. Now, you remember that businessman in Tarim area who there was an attempt to kidnap him, and he shot 2 of the people who were trying to kidnap him, and they turned out to be intelligence officers of Usalama wa Taifa? That's around the time the season of kidnappings ended. And that is why the kidnapping of Mo Dewji did not work according to plan. I suspect that also the season of telling the public lies and getting away with it has also ended. Because surely it should be easy to come up with one story, one clear, consistent story that you can feed the public. However, what we're getting now, as I've just mentioned, are many different stories. When you put them together, they don't make sense. And so, because the season of fooling the public is over, these stories will not work, no matter how clever these people are. And sooner or later, and as we go forward in the next few days, it will become very clear to the public that there's something very wrong here. It will become very clear to Tanzanians that actually it was their own government that was involved in the kidnapping and disappearance of Mo Dewji. Until next time, this is Kshs, Kumekucha.